We're going to call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just about. These are the handouts that Michael gave. There's 6 pages per. So if somebody could, because I need to start writing, if somebody could go through and take out 6 pages, 6 pages, 6 pages. Thank you. Michael, you didn't receive the reports in your consent agenda? Because
I did receive an agenda and it had a lot of items, as always, but this particular one did not have a, for example,
payroll and the accounts payable?
Correct.
All right. I'll give you my copy.
Okay.
I don't stuck it in there.
I don't anticipate having any problems. I just wanted to take a quick look at it.
Yeah, I thought I stuck it in there. Thank you.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Michael?
Here.
Sandy? Here. Kelly? Here. Ken?
Here.
Lori here. This would be unfinished business. Item 1.
Great. Are we ready again?
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve agenda.
I'm going to take the line off.
I don't know.
I would like to remove item number. Like I said, let me just go over it. Let me see. Thank you. Item number 9, the motion to approve purchase of phone system through IT Right. I believe we're getting more information and trying to negotiate a better deal. So I would like to remove that from, I will make a motion to remove that item from the under new business.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I would like to, just clarify, how are we going to vote on unfinished spring cleanup? I handed out, I know that apparently
We don't know how we're going to vote on this to discuss.
well, I know that previously you said there's an issue of why.
Okay, we're talking about approving the agenda when we get to unfinished business to discuss the spring cleanup.
All right.
Motion to approve that agenda.
We need to have a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Well, actually, there's one minor thing in the minutes that I found that's moved up.
Okay, well, Michael, you should clean that up before you vote on approving the agenda then.
That's on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Madam Superintendent.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The man named Don Kittle.
Okay, hold on.
I'm making a motion to approve the agenda, the regular agenda, as amended.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Okay, now a motion to approve the consent agenda.
There was a spelling error I found. Mr. Don Kittle's name is spelled with 2 T's rather than 2 D's. on
What set of minutes is that, if I may inquire?
March 12th. It's at the top of page 5.
Okay, so how do you want to make your motion, Michael?
I just make a motion to correct the spelling of Mr. Don Kittle from 2 T's to 2 D's.
So I'm assuming that your motion is to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the correction, with the correction for Mr. Kittle's name to be spelled from 2 T's to 2 D's. That's how you want to present it?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody want to second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to open session, anyone wishing to address the board or agenda items only?
Under item 7 on the new business, motion to advertise for position of park maintenance person with the newspaper. All I'd like to see is that it preferably go to a township resident, if we can do that. Give preference to a township resident.
Anybody else for agenda items only? Okay, we'll go on to unfinished business. Spring cleanup. Okay, Michael, what do you have for us?
Well, I got the final word from Terra Environmental. I was told that the first 20 tires will be free. And after that, all tires are taken to Smith's Creek landfill, where Terra has to pay $5 per tire. And they're not going to charge us anything extra. It's just the same $5 anybody else would pay.
Can I get a clarification on what you just said, Mr. Zoran? So is that all right, Kelly?
Yes.
So you're saying with regard to the tires, Terra is going to give us 20 free tires, and any tires after the 20, Terra is not going to charge us for it?
No,
Is that
no.
what you said?
If that's what I said it incorrect.
Okay.
The first 20 are free.
Okay.
Any beyond 20, people will be charged $5.
All right. Thank you.
The next thing that I wanted to make a reference to in regards to the tires is in the brochures. You know, I started off keeping some of the brochures very simple, just very, I get simple. It's not as easy as I can say. Each were gradually made more complex. This one here points out what I think is necessary. Paint cans require a 1-to-1 ratio of sand or kitty litter in order to absorb the paint. I think that's very important because we had a little bit of a problem with that last year. Not enough people put not enough sand. Also, it points out that the first 20 tires are free. In the next one, I thought I'd goof around and I put this neat little drawing of tires. And I also put some little daisies around the bottom. And then in the next one, I wasn't sure if how you guys would like it, so I put daisies on the top on that one as well. And then in the final one, I put an empty paint can and a bag of sand that someone would buy at the store next to it. And I also included the words, call Michael Zoran at 810-765-1447 if you have any questions. That also could probably be changed to include the township. Basically, it's just a matter of mixing and matching which qualities we like, and it can be made up whichever way that is, or you can select whichever one.
Now, is this the first 20 tires per person?
No, it's cumulative total.
Okay, if I may, I spoke also with them too. I know you spoke with Gary today, and he just wanted to reiterate what he spoke with you about. And he did state to get a separate bin for tires, because tires have to go by himself. So Terra, per their contract agreement, was that they would donate 2 bins for spring cleanup. The problem that I had was, I agree that we need, tires, but also that if we have 1 for tires and 1 for the rest of the garbage and being hazardous materials, paint, furniture, whatever, then what if we had residents waiting once that garbage bin was filled for them to bring the 3rd bin? Now, they did agree to donate the 3rd bin at no cost, and he did say the first 20 tires were free. So what I requested from him, because I was agreeable with you with having the separate bin for tires, I asked him to bring the 3 bins all at once.
Right.
So that way the residents are waiting for them to bring the 2nd bin. Also, the problem I had with the 20 free tires is that kind of puts on a first come, first served, where the reason that we were having the 2 days of the service was so that could include residents that worked on Saturday. So I didn't feel it was fair for if somebody got there at 10 o'clock right when we start, that somebody could come there with 20 tires. And then it's who are we to say which resident gets the free 20 tires. So my feeling is that if we have the 3rd bin of tires, I think it should be at a cost of $5 per resident. And being that Terra was generous enough to donate that 3rd bin, which was going to cost the township $425, I think that we show our appreciation by telling Terra, look, you don't have to give us the free tires, because that's not fair to all of our residents, because it's not fair for us to say who gets the free tires.
Well, if we get the free tires, can we just use that money to offset?
There is no extra cost.
Well, if we get 20 tires, Terra's not charging.
But they're not charging us for the 3rd bin either. So there's no cost to offset.
But if we charge everybody $5 anyway, $100 for the volunteers. You could food feed them, or that extra $100.
Well, you can't do that because the landfill charges $5 for each tire.
They're giving
No, not the landfill, Terra was.
The,
The landfill charges $5 per tire. That's what the landfill charges.
I don't have a problem with first come, first serve. I actually think it's a marketing thing that would get more people interested in the spring cleanup. If someone shows up with 20 tires, then that's a good thing. You also could put a limit, maybe $4 or maybe 4 tires limit per person. So, or another number.
But then do you put a limit at 4 tires per person until the 20 tires are used up?
Yes.
And then what about the other people they have to pay? They're still getting the 4 tires. So what's your thoughts, guys?
What was the $5 per resident for?
It's $5 per tire.
Per tire?
Yeah.
Well, you said resident.
Oh,
I don't know if every resident that came in don't
No,
pay $5.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was
And then entitled
$5.
to 1 tire or what?
1 tire each. That's what the landfill charges.
Okay.
Right. It's not just what Terra charges, it's what the landfill charges Terra.
Right.
But
It's what.
I think you had said $5 per
Right, and I
resident.
corrected myself,
Okay.
that it's $5
All right.
per
I didn't-
tire. Right.
And
So,
I'm sorry, I was writing when I caught part of it. The $20 per person, are we setting the limit to 4 tires?
no, it's the first, whoever brings the first 20 tires,
Yeah,
they get it free, they don't have to pay.
but I understand
Then
that,
after
but
this,
then at
$5.
one point, real recent, you were saying $20 per household, 4 tires per person.
Well, that's what Michael was saying,
Oh,
to do
okay.
4 tires per person. up
Like
to
I
the
said,
first
I
20
had
tires.
only caught part of it.
So I just think the whole spiel with the first 20 tires are free, I don't think that's fair to the rest of the residents, they have to work.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is, by turning down this nice offer from Terra, you're cheating Cottrellville Township out of $100 in free money.
We're not cheating Cottrellville out of it. It's not fair to say which resident gets the free tires and which ones have to pay the $5. I don't agree with the first come, first serve. I don't agree with that. That's why the whole purpose of why we had a second day was for those that, I don't think that's fair. If somebody has to work and they can't get here right at 10 o'clock, then they don't get the free tires. But those that are able to get here at 10 o'clock, they get the free tires.
Okay, well, we could simply say,
I mean, we can vote on it. I have no problem voting on it. That's just my opinion.
we could divide it 10 per day. It's like, as long as we use the 20 tires, that's good for the community.
I don't think it's fair to the other residents, but that's just my opinion. So if.
I got a quick question. How big is a dumpster?
We're not, we're just doing
All
a
right.
strict board meeting tonight, so,
All right.
and that will be brought up, just so you know.
Well, divide the number of tires into how big do you think the dumpster goes?
So if you guys want to make a vote as to whether or not we include the first 20 tires are free, I'm all for it. So if somebody wants to make a motion for that?
Well, what I'll do is I'll make a motion so that the first 10 tires on each of the 2 days are free to the first 10 people that need tires.
That bring tires.
That's great.
The first 10 tires that hit the first 10 people, or the first 10 tires?
The first 10 tires brought on
Okay.
each day will be accepted for free. That way, you know, it's 100% fair to both days.
When you're done ready. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Okay, so then on the flyer,
Motion carried.
I will have to remove the part where it says the first 20 tires brought are free, and simply say tires brought are free, or are $5 each.
With regards to your flyers, being that you distributed them to us today, and we had nothing for the spring cleanup, I was proactive, because I didn't want us to come before our board meeting empty-handed, and I created this flyer, which basically states that we'll be holding our spring cleanup on the same days that you had put, but I included a time of 10 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. on each day. I also included that once the bins are full, Cottrellville Township will conclude this event. I also included that this cleanup is available to Cottrellville residents only, and to bring your proof of residency in order to enter the gates. And also that Ontario has donated 2 30-yard dumpsters to the township, and the purpose of the dumpsters is to collect same as your various debris. But I included poison, other hazardous waste, air conditioners, refrigerators only if the freon is removed, and propane tanks only if they're empty. Tires are accepted at a cost of $5. I included the same thing you did with the paint cans and the kitty litter. But also I was speaking with our Parks and Rec chairperson, and we agreed that if the board approves it, that we would like to incorporate the Parks and Rec committee for a cleanup too, being that we have the volunteers and we have everybody here. We'd like to include volunteers to help with the cleaning of the township grounds, which would be the township hall, the township park, and the cemetery. And that would also include the spreading of mulch, the weeding of flowers, cutting down the limbs, moving picnic tables, lining the garbage cans, and cleaning the township of debris. And then also that the township would be providing hot dogs, chips, and whatever for the volunteers. So that's what I included on that flyer.
And if I may point out, item number 12 on new business is the, where we.
Right, the discussion of the gathering, right?
Right.
We did include that, but
You wanna
I
include
just
the
wanted
flyer.
to incorporate it all in one flyer. And also that I believe that we should have, it's a township function, so it should be the township phone number where people are contacted, not a board member's phone number.
The fundamental problem with this, and just, to confirm to the other board members, I only received this at the start of the meeting.
Yeah,
It's
because
too-
we hadn't received anything from you, which was noted back on, when was this? Our February meeting, that you would bring these items to us, that you would put those in the agenda for the April, and we hadn't received anything until today. So I needed to make sure that we had something available that we could vote on.
A 2-page flyer.
It's not a 2-page, this is the advertisement, which I was getting to next, because you hadn't provided us with anything that you were gonna advertise, just the cost. So I wanted the advertisement as well.
The advertisement actually came out early, as I notified Lori in an email.
I did not get a copy of the advertisement, did you?
I didn't receive anything to put in the packets for today's meeting, Mr. Zoran. You sent out
I didn't get anything from him.
something with regard to that, but I thought that had to do with something different.
Everything I got, the 6 pages in this from you today.
I received
in our
nothing,
packet.
I'm sorry, I received nothing from Mr. Zoran to include in our packets, so.
The wording used was the exact same as last year, except the addition of the same.
But
I don't
in
want to
our
argue.
minutes, I'm not arguing with you, it's in our minutes, what you were to bring before the board. It was specifically stated in our minutes when you were to present it.
Well, I'm perfectly fine looking at what you have to say for an advertisement. I don't think this should be a 30-minute session like it was last month.
I don't think it should either, but had you provide us with the information to put in our packet, we wouldn't be discussing this right now.
Well,
So we're gonna move along to
the
the advertisement. Okay, Michael, you have on here, go ahead and explain what you have.
Yes, as far as the advertisement goes, the advertisement that I placed in the Blue Water Shopper, there was a little bit of a miscommunication. It came out right after the last meeting. I got the Times Herald on the phone and I said, please wait, don't do it until the next board meeting has voted it into effect. So they were nice enough to stop that. But I was actually very impressed with that advertisement that was obtained for free. I think that one should stay the same. I mean, we can do this wording, but that one was fine. I had quite a few people say, nice job and stuff.
That would be nice if we had a copy of it so we could see what you're talking about.
Well, I sent it in an email to Lori.
I did not receive, I'm sorry, Kelly, I did not receive a copy of any ad from Mr. Zoran, and I heard Mr. Zoran state a few minutes ago that it's the same wording as last year. I don't have time to go look through everything that we had for last year to hunt down an ad that Mr. Zoran has on his computer. He could have very easily, after I asked him, I sent him an email and asked him if he had anything for the agenda. He said no. He responded with a no, and that he would be bringing this stuff, and I said he needed to get it to me to put it in the packet, and I received nothing.
The Voice has a free community section as well. However, that one is very small. And last year, that one was used, and I don't think it got a lot of attention. And as I mentioned last month, the Times Herald has a news brief that they will write up for us. I've already talked to them. They'll be glad to notify people as soon as this is approved. As I pointed out last month, the prices for a 5x4, or excuse me, for the Voice, a 3x5 is, which actually measures 5x5, costs $176 for 1 week and $334 for 2 weeks. What they classify as a 2x4 is actually a 3.2x4. Will be 101 for 1 week, 202 for 2 weeks. And we can have our choice for those 2 weeks, April 16th, 23rd, or the 30th. I think earlier is better, so I'd like to go with the 16th and the 23rd if we select the Voice. They actually recommend the ad called the 3x5. And then the Times Herald has also gotten back to me. They're actually running a pretty nice special. Mondays and Tuesdays, they have said, you get a nice 5x4 inch color ad, and it's $77 per day, If you buy 3 ads, you get the 4th free. Wednesday through Saturday is also $130 each. Sunday is $400, but I think that's too expensive. But I do like the Monday and Tuesday deal with the Times Herald for $77. I would maybe buy 3 of those and get the 4th one free.
Okay, my feeling is being that we could get it free in the Voice and free in the Times Herald, why would we want to pay for it? I also spoke with CTV Channel 6, and they will run an ad, if that's what you want to call it, and that will run 24/7 as long as there's not a meeting going on, tomorrow all the way up until the Sunday of the function for free as well. So if we have it in the Voice for free, the Times Herald for free, and on Channel 6 for free, I don't feel that there's a need for us to pay this amount of money. That's my opinion. Lori, I'm going to go down to see what everybody's opinion is on it.
I just calculated out the $77. Mr. Zoran was requesting that we do 3 ads for the $77 and then 1 for free, and that comes to $231. This is a weekend event, it's a free event, and I think our responsibility to the township is to watch how we spend the money, and to me, $231 is a lot of money. I don't know about anyone else, but it's a lot of money to me.
Right.
And if we have a free ad in the Voice and the Times Herald, and Channel 6 is going to do that for us. And Channel 6 also has that, or Mr. Denjman also has that website that people can go to and look things up, which is the ctvwatchme.com or something like that. I think that's a lot of coverage there for free. I don't see any reason to spend the money.
And you know,
Are you done, Laura? I'm
I'm
going down the board.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
I don't see any need in advertising, it's basically just for the township. The Times Herald, I don't know how many people in the township actually get the Times Herald, so there's no point in spending money. Channel 6 is only good for Comcast in the city. So just the Voice is probably fine for our area because it's aimed just at our area.
Sandy?
I agree. We should spend money.
I do recall, I believe it was your suggestion with regards to the banner, which we keep forgetting.
The last couple of years, when we had a township event, we put a banner out front.
Okay.
So I was thinking, I mean, that's where everybody drives by.
All right, yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Michael,
Maybe put in, maybe see how much a banner costs. I think that's going to be the best way to get the word out. Just a suggestion.
there you go. Michael?
Okay, now I'll respond to Sandra. I think that's an excellent idea. You know, Marsh Road gets a lot of traffic. I'd even be willing to, I live on Rain City Highway where there's 10,000 vehicles that pass every day. I'd be happy to use my yard for that type of banner advertisement as well.
I think we'll just, go ahead. I think we should just keep it right on the township property instead of doing it in an individual home. And then that would be an extra cost as well.
Well, I wouldn't charge anything. Also, you know, I remember last March of 2013 pointing out by far the best advertisement is the township newsletter. That's been missed on multiple occasions. We need to make sure that if there's a fall cleanup, let's make sure that everybody in the township receives notice with their taxes about the fall cleanup, the date. So if you guys don't want to do the advertisement, you know, I understand. But let's just, especially since the Blue Water one, I was very impressed with that.
Michael, nobody said they didn't want to do the advertisement. They said they don't want to pay for the advertisement. That why pay for it when we can advertise it for free? That's what was stated.
Well, if,
Maybe put that money toward the banner. And use it every year.
And that's a good point.
okay, so the banner has
We
not,
may, you can put like this weekend, so every year we can use it again.
okay, well, I'll make a motion to, well,
We need to find out how much.
right, yeah. All right, so is that something we want to do this meeting, or?
There's going to be problems. We don't know how much it
I don't
costs,
think
so
it's that.
we don't have
Yeah,
another
like
We
meeting.
put like, maybe cap it at 100? Anything under 100?
I I don't even know what the banner is. I
We have a ton
don't
of
believe
them.
I've
It's
ever
those
seen.
things that are downstairs. that
Oh,
we
I
roll
thought it was
out.
a
Yeah,
publication.
no,
I'm
those
sorry.
ones that we roll out.
I'm thinking of
No,
like the
that's
thumb
okay.
and car trader.
Well, I'll make a
Those are just the
motion.
things that pop in my head when I think of those little books.
So you get what we're saying.
I get what you're saying now. I don't know, because if you want to do the banner.
So you want to make a
then you have
motion, Sandy, for the
We'll make a
banner?
motion to buy a banner. So how about we cap it at 100?
Second.
She needs to finish her motion. You want to cap it at
Don't you
100?
think that's a good price, or?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. We cap at $100 microseconds. Okay.
So that means the final
And
thing,
then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So then we need to make a motion for advertising in the Times Herald, The Voice, and also on CTV 6.
okay, I'll make a motion for,
Hold on. Okay, go ahead, we need a motion first.
okay, well, you previously stated, so I'll repeat. I will make a motion for the free advertising in the Blue Water Shopper of the Times Herald and the free community section of The Voice, as well as Channel 6 CTV. For the spring clean of 2014.
All in favor?
We need a second?
Sorry, second.
I'm sorry.
I got my eyes on it.
Actually, I probably should be, I'll do this in this one.
Let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Second? I'll second.
Kelly seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we need to make a motion for what advertisement we're gonna use?
Well, that was the one we just did.
No, I'm sorry, flyer.
Right. Well, I think this one has a lot of the nice, I mean, the one that you presented definitely has all the instructions needed. I'd like to see it have more color. I think this one would be fine for in the township hall.
I'm sorry, could I ask what one you're referring to?
This one here.
Okay.
The only problem I have with the color is when we print it, costs a lot of money on our copy machine. As compared to, I agree with you that it'd be nice to, because your presentation looks really good, but it just was more expensive, so I
Could
don't
I
know.
ask a clarification question with regards to the flyers before we vote on flyers?
Sure.
Which would be, where are we going to put them?
Well, last year, when I went around town, you know, 'cause I realized that none of the advertisements made it into the paper when they were supposed to, so I quick went to Big Boy, I think Riviera, you know, all those places down on Water Street and River Road and stuff. And so I think those are the best places to
We'll have to look into who, well, we have to make sure that who was ever responsible for doing the flyers last year doesn't do it again, so that way we can make sure that they get to all the places that need be. So, let's pass the motion for the flyers and then we'll delegate who's responsible for hanging them.
Do we want to spread them around places that aren't Cottrellville?
yeah.
It's the Cottrellville residents only.
Actually, Gary pointed out, he says we're going to be some forgiving if people from Cottrellville don't show up. He says, because obviously you're not going to turn someone away if they show up and don't bring their card. He says, so, you know,
Who's Gary?
Gary from Montero.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
It's
lost.
for Cottrellville residents only, so
Right.
being that I guess we'll have to make sure there's somebody manning the gate that isn't that forgiving.
being that we're posting that it's for Cottrellville residents only. I would hate for one of our Cottrellville residents to come and use the cleanup and our bins are full because somebody was forgiving and let somebody in that they weren't sure if they were a resident or not. So getting back to the flyer, I need a motion for which one we're going to accept.
I move that we don't even need a flyer.
Anybody want a second yet?
Here, you know, bond discussion. Post it up.
That's what we had to.
Flyers before today to look at, so instead of trying to write and look at flyers, I could make a better decision.
Okay.
Well, Big Boy is in Cottrellville, so I'd gladly go to Big Boy and put one there. There's a couple other places, I've never been to that place called DJ Saltcock's, but that's in Cottrellville. And I think there's another restaurant on Shea Road, some bar or something.
You know, I sit here and try to plug together two flyers to make one that covers everything that you might want to think it covers is kind of hard to do. I really wish I would have had this before.
Well, I'll make a motion to personally go.
First of all, Ken made a motion for no flyer. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. I would like a roll call on that one, please.
You guys talk way too fast. Okay. Ken?
Yes.
Lori, yes. Michael?
No.
Sandy?
Yes.
Ellie?
Yes. Motion carries. Now, with regards to, are you doing the advertisements? We're doing that one.
Just a matter of the date. So,
Alright, now we have to confirm as to what dates we want it on, and then we'll leave.
I make a motion to have the Cottrellville Township annual spring cleanup on May 3rd and May 4th from, let's see here. Where's the other one here? I lost the hours. 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And have hot dogs, chips, and beverages provided to those who volunteer.
I don't recall that conversation. That had to do with the cleanup, I thought.
What's the other right here? At the bottom.
He wants to include
We'll see.
in there.
All right, I'm sorry. Hot dogs, I'm sorry, Michael, what was it?
Hot dogs,
And
chips.
then hot dogs, chips, and drinks?
Yep. Yeah, do you want to put a cap on it? No more than
Yeah.
500
$500 for what?
for it to pay for the
For the
hot dogs, chips,
refreshments.
and-
I wouldn't think that it would cost anything close to that. I won't even be, I'll be drinking a lot of water. How much did you anticipate spending?
Well, we have volunteers that are helping for 2 days, for 7 hours per day, which is 14 hours. And they're helping with 3 bins, as well as doing the township grounds. And you already have 7 of them, and I know that various members of the planning commission, the board, the Parks and Rec Commission, the board, all the board members, there's various members that are planning, not including their friends and family as well. That's quite a few people that you're having per day. So you're better to go high than low because you also have to buy plates, napkins, cups, silverware, condiments for the hot dogs.
Well, I can tell you from last year, when we had this plan and discussed it a little bit at the Parks and Recreation Committee, you know, the goal was to look at the pop cans in the area, try picking them up. I actually talked to one of my volunteers from last year. There was one pop can on the entire ground.
So that's not a good idea.
Right.
Want to cap it a little high.
Well, actually,
Doesn't mean you have to spend that amount, but at least you're gonna have enough food for the people that come to volunteer when you're offering. It's as an incentive to get volunteers.
well, I can tell you that the St. Clair County Republican Party had their summer picnic for $80.
But we're talking, okay, they had their summer picnic. If you want to cap it at $80, we'll cap it at $80.
No, I think that I'm going to leave out the wording about the hot dog, chips, and beverages.
Okay. So restate your motion, please.
I make a motion for the Cottrellville Township annual spring cleanup, which will be held from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on May 3rd and May 4th.
Need a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to motion to approve contact with engineering consultant firm.
I'll make a motion to accept Zoran consultants.
I'll second.
Are we going to have no discussion?
You have to have a motion.
After it gets signed, will you please put talking on the board? We appreciate it.
I second.
Discussion. Michael?
Well, you know, Huron Consultants is more expensive than the other firms. I would like to, in fact, they're the most expensive one in St. Clair County. So, they also talked about how they specialize in grants, but Cottrellville Township didn't even get the SAW grant. And we're about 200 municipalities down the ladder, even the ones remaining. So I'm just wondering why you want them. I mean,
I believe the SAW grant wasn't it just a random pick? There was no rhyme or reason to it. It didn't matter.
It was a pool.
It was a pool, you know. It didn't matter what engineering company went with, that voted, or who did it.
it was still something that the grants were a major focus during the presentations and the questions asked.
Well, for me, we want to know about the grants. We want somebody that's going to be able to help us with those. And without a consulting firm that can do that, we might miss the boat.
If you look at the cost fees for these people, Huron Consultants were not the most expensive. It was it Anderson? It was the most expensive of the four. And as for the SAW grant was so diligently paid attention to by Huron Consultants that we squeaked it in just under the door as it was coming down. If it wasn't for them calling me on Friday and Saturday and Sunday to make the corrections that needed to be made and me coming in and faxing them everything that we needed, the SAW grant would not have gone through. And like I said, if it wasn't for them caring enough to call me so I could get it in, so the township had a chance for that SAW grant, then we wouldn't have been able to go in the lottery at all. It was a lottery drawing for the SAW grant. We are still in the running for the SAW grant. It's just that they did so many now, and I believe they're going to do so many later on. So we still have a chance. It's not 200 down on the list. It is a lottery.
The companies, when they made their presentations in March, multiple representatives from the different companies each pointed out all 4 of the companies are capable of doing the work. I was actually glad when the representative of L and Shank last month was here to point out that some of the things being said up here were not accurate. As far as Huron Consultants goes, you know, of the 4 companies, the one company that actually was the highest was from Macomb County. So that's why I
You
made a...
just said it was Huron Consultants.
There's 3 that are in St. Clair County. There was a 4th company in Macomb County. Of the 3 in St. Clair County, they are the most expensive. You know, I just think that it comes down to all of them can do the job. And there's 2 companies that outbid them, which means they're actually significantly, you know, higher. I mean, so that's the way I feel about it. That's the information I want to pass along to the people. I mean, when you have 2 companies outbidding someone, it's not that I have anything against them. It's just there's been 2 companies that outbid you.
Anybody else for discussion?
I have to agree with Mike too. I believe when he made his presentation, there was not going to be a charge until the grant was issued. I have now found out that we paid him $5,000 to write the grant, and we didn't get the money back, and we don't have the grant.
Once we receive, if we receive the grant, the money will be...
That was not the way it was
returned.
presented.
That's
would be
how,
paid.
that was to my understanding how it was.
That's where we got into our discussion last time.
Right. It's, I guess, a misunderstanding between the 2 of us, but that's with all the grants, whoever writes the grant, that the cost goes back into the grant, just like with the township. John, can you explain how the fees for, which Huron Consultant did do our grant, help with the fees for our grants with the large
But
waterfront
again,
park?
speaking of the fee,
Right.
it was twice the price of the other 3 firms.
It goes, well, the only reason to, my understanding was why the other firm only charged $2,500 was because they did 30 different municipalities. That
What
was
does that
my
tell you?
understanding. But
They did 30 of them.
And they
at
didn't
half the
contact
price.
us, imagine that. So that's just how I feel. Yeah, okay, so is everybody done discussing?
No, John didn't explain to us.
Oh,
yet.
can you explain the grant, how the fees, once you obtain the grant, how the fees that you use for that grant go into the grant where the township doesn't?
Referring to the park.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there were certain charges that there was a engineering 2-phase, had to do 2 phases for the site that was performed. There had to be a survey done. There had to be
May I interrupt, which Huron Consultants?
Huron Consultants did the
Phase.
phase 1 and the phase 2 engineering studies for the site. Snore did the appraisal on the property, and David Little did the survey. And those costs that were incurred by the township were reimbursed up to 75%. We were reimbursed 75% by the state, and then those costs were also part of the costs that were shared with the county Parks and Rec with respect to the riverfront park acquisition.
That's how I'm trying to explain with the SAW grant that that's.
John,
Yes.
what does that have to do with prepaying for a grant to be written by the township for such as the
See, I
SAW
don't
grant?
have any familiarity with the SAW grant, so
Okay.
I can't respond to that.
Okay.
I'm correct, Smith. I called your consultants, I think I called you about this. If you are our consulting engineers, if you become our engineers, there would be really, the fee would only be charged, it would go right to the grant, right?
If we were under contract with you, we would not be charging you.
Exactly, that's what I mean, right.
I had that same question asked of Lori Shank, simply because such high importance was placed on it the day that they made presentations. And she answered in the exact same way.
Then, can I ask this of you, Zoran? Since
Yeah, right.
if you were our engineer and you would not charge us, if you are elected to be the engineer as of tonight, will we get the refund? It's only $5,000, doesn't mean a lot to very
I know.
many people, such as yourself, but to a township like ours, it's quite important.
I'm not the president of the company, but I will commit to
You made the
that.
statement last time.
I will commit to that
You will commit that we'll get the check back
if we get there.
if you get elected.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I think,
I,
why not give other representatives from other companies a chance?
we've already done our interviews, Michael. There's a motion on the table for Huron Consultants. We've already seconded it. We're gonna vote. I think we've had enough discussion. All in favor for Huron Consultants to be Cottrellville's engineering consulting firm? Aye.
I'm
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Motion to approve renewal of township board membership with MTA.
I'll second township,
I need a motion first, please.
or, excuse me, I make a motion to renew the township board membership with the Michigan Township Association.
Need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to approve board adjourning to closed session meeting to consult with township attorney, regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation, Michael Zoran, Kyle Sunday, and Austin Adams versus Township of Cottrellville and County of Lisco, St. Clair County Circuit Court docket case number 13-1841-CZ.
I will make a motion to approve the board adjourning to a closed session meeting to consult with the township attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation, Michael Zoran, Kyle Sunday, and Austin Adams versus Township of Cottrellville and Kellyanne Lisco et al., St. Clair County Circuit Court docket, case number 13-1841-CZ, and
I'll
at
second that.
8:25 p.m.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board? No, with the exception of
Yeah.
Should we do a motion to exclude Mr. Zoran since he's on the other side of
It's my understanding that his attorney has agreed, and Mr. Zoran has agreed, that he would not participate in any closed session involving litigation where he is suing the township.
As a matter of housekeeping, should we do a motion to exclude him, or to have him abstain?
Sure, you can ask.
Okay. I'll make a motion that Mr. Zoran abstain from attending the closed session meeting with the township attorney.
I'll second.
Can I get a second, please?
Michael seconded.
I didn't ask for a second. No.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You're going to go into closed session. any other resident of Cottrellville that would like to speak?
Can I speak?
I asked if there's any other resident of Cottrellville that would like to speak at this time.
It's me.
You may speak now.
Thank you very much.
Madam Supervisor, the Michigan Open Meetings Act does not limit comments to residents of Cottrellville.
Exactly, but I can decide on who I'd rather choose to speak first. Michael.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is Kyle Sunday, 5555 Sharkey Road. While looking at the St. Clair County court dockets, I noticed that you, Supervisor Kelly Fiscelli, are currently being arraigned for 3 crimes by the city of Morgan City. The first is failure to stop at the scene of a property damage accident. The second is failure to report an accident. The third is operator's license improper change of address, a misdemeanor. On April 18, 2013, you were arraigned by the Marine City Police Department. Your fingerprints were officially filed. On May 1, 2013, you had a pre-trial, and your case was not dismissed. You are now going to have a jury trial. I want to know the date of your trial.
I did not discuss my personal business.
But you don't mind if the public comes to your court case?
I have no statement.
No statement, okay. Do you mind if the public records your court case?
I do not discuss
Very well.
my personal business.
But why would someone run from an accident like that? I mean, the only reason why I can
I
think of
do
someone
not
who runs from an
discuss my
accident
personal business.
is
If you
someone
want to
who-
continue, I will ask you to be excused. That's it.
Comments
You can go to the court case. I'm sure you're well aware of the date and the time. Other than that, I do not discuss it. If you have something else to talk about, feel free to. If not, go sit down.
drunk driving on an accident.
Or you'll be asked to leave.
I'd like to compliment Mr. Michael Zoran on the positive work he did for me at that ordinance review committee last month. During the March meeting, the law firm of Fiscelli-Lisco, which I believe is a large municipal law firm in Michigan, representing 83 townships, said Cottrellville Township who needs to update its ordinances. Trustee Zoran said that Fiscelli-Lisco explained ordinances from 1967, 1991, and other dates obviously need to be examined. Trustee Zoran also said that Fiscelli said all of the township ordinances need to be examined because the planning commission doesn't have the skill needed to perform such duties. It isn't even legally allowed to handle many forms of zoning ordinances. This is why the ordinance review committee is such a fantastic idea. So that's people who volunteer and work for free, find problems in the ordinances, and then find solutions to those problems. If the planning commission does not have a volunteer at this time, according to the statutory laws of Michigan, the ordinance review committee does not cease to exist. That would be like saying a board no longer exists because somebody couldn't make it to a meeting. All this means that there will be an empty seat dedicated to a planning commission member. The ordinance review committee is the most positive thing that
Your
happens
time's up.
in the township in a long time.
We're going to move on to unfinished
Actually,
business.
Supervisor, I thought you were going to invite other people too.
Who was the last person that raised his hand?
There's other people back there.
Who was the last person that raised his hand?
He had his hand raised.
I apologize. Oh. What's your name, please?
Austin Adams.
And your address?
He's a resident of Cottrellville.
Doesn't matter.
And not everybody feels comfortable in that
Right.
environment.
My person is. Kelly, you are the worst supervisor I've ever seen. Your meetings are absolutely boring because you have no idea what you're doing as a supervisor. You've received 6 months worth of training experience. We're not new anymore. The excuse has gotten old. These meetings should have order, and you don't provide it as a supervisor, Kelly. To say that you don't use Robert's Rules of Order is absurd and it proves we need Robert's Rules of Order to bring order to these meetings. I could not believe that when Mr. Michael Zoran rights were negatively bothered by you for good old boys while Mr. Zoran was publicly speaking last week. The motion passed earlier in the meeting's making it 100% clear that board comments would be 100% invulnerable to interrupt in the same way that public comments were when Trustee Ken Chartier negatively interrupted Mr. Zoran by saying, "Motion to be adjourned." It made me sick. When Kelly Fiscelli seconded the motion, it made me want to throw up because, sorry. Tomato potato, right? When Mr. saying by the motion to adjourn made me sick. Second, the motion, it made me want to throw up because of the way Michael Zoran was being illegally bullied by your four good old boys. When Treasurer Sandra Kias and Clerk Lori Russellberg joined you, I knew this board was even more corrupt and more illegal than a former group of Tom Raymond era good old boys ever was.
Kyle, before I interrupt you, you don't state your address. I need your address, that's what we stated before the meeting.
That's not a mandatory requirement according to the.
It's a requirement of my meeting, thank you, Michael. I stated
Attorney John
before.
McNamee has not taken an ordinance enforcement case
You
to court
cannot
since 2013.
establish your address.
Yet he was charged the township over $20,000.
You're done, you're done. Thank
Appreciate it,
you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, ma'am, I have a comment.
Michael, if you have a comment, you need to go up to the podium as president.
Hey, I'd like to make a comment. I'm a resident of Cottrellville.
Sure, you can go first before Michael.
All right, excuse me, I'm kind of unprepared here.
Can you state your name and
Okay,
address?
my name is
please?
Gary Isaac. My address is 6129 Marine City Highway. Do I have 3 minutes or do I have
Yes,
the floor
sir.
for how long?
You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, all right, I'll talk fast. I'm sure I'll stick alive.
Okay.
I've lived there probably for about 10 years. After about 3 years, the house down by Myers was picked up and brought put right next to my house. They built a slope, which is similar to this, and I got every bit of the runoff. The township would not give them occupancy permit until that was fixed. And his idea to fix it was he dug a low drainage ditch about yay deep to the back of the property line. It lasted maybe a year. It was piss poor in the first place. I came in here last fall and I talked to Mr. Clausen, I believe, showed him pictures and everything. I've had 3 renters in that house since that house was put there. And it's this close from going into bankruptcy. I explained that to Mr. Clausen. I told him my situation, gave him pictures. His remarks were, let the bank take care of it. There's clearly states of ordinance runoff from someone else's property. I sent you a certified letter about 2 weeks ago that you signed for, and I gave you 2 weeks to sign it. I would like to know
Is that with
what.
the pictures?
That's exactly
Okay,
the
I just
pictures.
actually picked up yesterday. I didn't do
Okay, well, I haven't received anything from you.
I just picked up the.
Okay, well, I'll look on my email.
Okay.
And, I mean, just cut to the chase. I'm not dealing with Mr. Clausen, I'm done with him. You've seen the pictures, what I'm dealing with. I don't care to get into politics, I care less. I want what you taken care of.
I like to commend you for coming here to talk
Okay,
about
like
actual
I said, I don't
issues.
have time for all this, and I don't know you, and there's a sign stuck out in front of my front yard for you. I've tried to deal with the homeowner on several occasions. I got emails, he cares less. Why? He's a slumlord, he put that house there, he's had 4 renters in it since. The water runs to the south, it does not run to the ditch. And at this point, again, I don't have a problem dealing with you, I'll personally deal with you one-on-one. You want someone else there, I don't have a problem with that. Mr. Clausen, I'm not speaking to him, I'm done with him.
And as I said, I just.
Okay,
received your letter yesterday.
so that issue I need looked at, I need resolved. Otherwise, I need a map with Cottrellville Township, I'm gonna knock on every door in the township. And then I'm gonna explain what's going on, and then I'm gonna sue, okay? Because I feel that's a cut and dry case, you see this.
I saw the
Okay,
pictures.
well, I appreciate you looking at it.
Okay, and I will call you tomorrow with the.
Okay, that's fine. And again, I don't have a problem talking to you. I'm all about going with the chain of command. You, Mr. Clausen?
No, Mr. Chartier.
Yeah, and I can go time to time dealing with a guy.
Thank you for giving
Didn't you
that.
speak to Mr. Clausen?
Yes. and
Did
he's-
you look like me?
I don't know who you are, I don't care. Okay?
You just asked.
I seen Mr. Clausen one time, it was a year ago. I don't care who you are. You Mr. Chartier? Yeah.
And I'm sorry I have to cut you off.
I've heard the
But I
name.
will call you tomorrow.
Okay, I appreciate it.
If you look at the receipt too. it will
Well,
show
that's
you
fine, and I'll come in here and talk to you if you're gonna do that or whatever,
Absolutely,
you know.
sure.
But, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Vicki Perriman, I live at 687 River Road. I have to say, I am so disheartened coming, this is one of the first board meetings, I've been away for the winter and I've come back. There are so many issues in this township that needs a unified group working on it, and nothing that this open forum has done but personal attacks on everybody. I honestly feel, I mean, I am applying to become on the ZBA board because I want to give back to this community that I like living in, but I honestly have to say that it has to stop all these personal attacks on everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
My name is Michael Zoran of 5865 Marine City Highway. On April 17th, 2013, I came to this special meeting that was held here where only one person was in attendance. My mother, who drives me here because I'm disabled with epilepsy. The reason only one person was in attendance was because the public was not properly notified. According to the Michigan Open Meetings Act, you need to notify the public 18 hours in advance of a special meeting, and it needs to be put on the township website. Otherwise, it is a violation of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. It was not put on the township website, therefore, it was a violation. Everything that happened at that meeting, I have confirmed with the Michigan Township Association, can be legally challenged in circuit court. Now what that means is, items on tonight's agenda should not be voted on. I'm going to abstain from the lawn issue, for example. I also want people to know that at that meeting, there was the website voted on. And what that meant was, for the second bid in a row, only one bid was good enough. I specifically said we need to have a rebid so that we get at least 3 bids. I even offered to personally pay the advertising costs in the Times Herald newspaper, yet the other board members would not allow that to happen. I think it's incredibly interesting that this website company goes back to an organization that is associated with the campaign manager of Kelly Fiscelli-Lisco. He runs an organization called the Macomb First Business Alliance. All those people are part of that same group. That's very disturbing to me. It says corruption all the way. So I'd like to...
Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you.
I'll make an open session comment. As it shows right here, Thursday, May 16th, 10:43 a.m., I received an email that I thought was rather suspicious. I won't name the name of the person who sent it, but at the bottom it's signed Helen Hazuka, Deputy Clerk, Cottrellville Township. It tells the time and date of this special meeting, so obviously I thought it was addressed to me. However, I thought it was suspicious that it's sent in the name of someone other than Helen. I thought it was suspicious the way that it was being sent in the name of someone other than Helen, and suspicious other that it was being sent from the township address. Also, there appears to be one of the missing responses from the person who sent this, is that she specifically...
Can I make a motion? Because I'm just a resident here. And it's kind of strange to me that you continue to cough when he speaks. That's rather rude.
I couldn't help.
Okay, just when he speaks.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Go ahead.
I've been coughing.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. One of the missing emails is the one where the woman who sent this specifically says to me the equivalent of "nothing is suspicious." So I think that was quite interesting.
Well, I think what we'll do is have our attorney and the law officials look into it, and
So are you referring to the corrupt John McNamee?
and then we can go. You're calling John McNamee corrupt?
Yes.
And your evidence of this?
He hasn't taken the case to court since 2010.
How is it corrupt?
because he's not doing his job. He was paid over $20,000. He was paid over $20,000. He was paid over $20,000 in 2012 and did not take a case to court.
So that's correct.
In my opinion, that is incredibly suspicious to the point
Address
that
that issue with him as well, being that
He
he
needs
has
to be
nothing to do
replaced.
with this board. You know, if you want to. Yeah.
I went door-to-door at 550 houses.
All right, we're going to move on. We're not doing open.
A violation of the Open Meetings Act.
It's supposed, you know, we're trying to have a nice.
It's called a violation of the Open Meetings Act.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I didn't get my time.
You're not talking way more than 3 minutes, Michael.
Thanks to your calls.
Would you, well, I can't help that, I have a call. I'm sorry?
Then you should leave.
You should not conduct
the meeting. Not conduct the meeting when you have to be here.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Nay?
That's correct.
What are you voting?
There was no online notice given for the 9 a.m. meeting. That was brought to my attention after the meeting.
It's 10 o'clock. But it doesn't need to be posted online. It can be posted on the door.
It needs to be both.
Well, that was one of the,
What meeting are you talking about, this meeting?
No, not this meeting. The one for the,
what's that got to do with this agenda?
because it addresses items from that particular meeting.
It wasn't,
No,
I posted that online, the meeting that we had 2 weeks ago.
It's at 10 a.m., not 9 a.m.
The meeting was at 10, it wasn't at 9.
There was one at 9 for the changes in the agenda. However, the one for the new agenda
was at 10. It was supposed to start, it said at the door immediately afterwards. However, it said online, it's supposed to start at 10. However, the one for the changes in the previous year's agenda was supposed to start at 9. And I'm simply saying that was not posted on.
Oh, why didn't you call and let us know?
Because as I said, I didn't know about it at the time. It was brought to my attention afterwards.
Okay, I don't know, I have to look and see. I posted for the
The
meeting.
amendment,
I didn't post for the amendment.
the amendment isn't directly related to what we are doing today. The budget workshop is directly related to what we are doing today. It's 6 of one, half dozen of another, but it's not, it can't preclude us from continuing with adopting the budget today.
But we had 3 ayes and you said no, so.
Yeah.
Moving on. There isn't any unfinished business. New business, adoption of the 2014-2015. Before we move on, if this is the case with the website, I don't have time to do the website, so we're going to have to definitely think about something.
Yeah, if we're going to get threatened with a lawsuit every single time. Yeah, if we're going to get threatened with a lawsuit every time someone makes a mistake because somebody doesn't want to let us know,
I don't have time to do it right.
then I would strongly suggest that the board could reconsider the use of the internet and just get rid of the website.
I agree. So
If that's all it is a weapon against the board,
I have no time to
then
do
I
it.
have no problem with getting rid of it.
Alrighty then, so. We're going to call the meeting back to order.
I'll make a motion to resume the meeting, regular board meeting at 8:56 p.m.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. I just want to make sure.
I'll make a motion to...
Okay, heads up, guys.
I'll make a
Yeah.
motion.
We call the meeting to order.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment from the Township General Fund, the sum of $8,042.87 to Attorney Philip Ellison in accordance with Judge West's opinion and order regarding attorney fees.
I need a second. Discussion, Lori.
I think this is a sad day to be spending township money in this manner. If it wouldn't be such a cost to the township, I would full-heartedly request an appeal on the opinion of Judge West, but in the best interest of the township's monies and how they are spent, because nothing is 100%. And you just don't know how things would go. I think it's in the best interest to move on.
Okay.
I would have to go along with everything that Larry just said. It's up to me, but since it's a township money and the township's future, we'll just go with it.
Sandy?
I agree with Lori. I think it's, as a board, we're supposed to be working to better the community, not take away. It's too bad.
I agree with all of you as well. All right, so we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I believe when you're spending money, you're.
We're not gonna speak out, we're gonna conduct
I
this.
know, but I think
We're
you're
not.
supposed to say yes and no each person.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're
Yes.
right, I'm sorry, I thought you were being mean or
No.
something. I'm trying to think of a normal word, I'm a little on edge right now. Sorry. Roll call. Don't wanna get sued again.
Lori, yes. Sandy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. A motion to approve relief of sewer bill for Jennifer, I'm not sure how to pronounce her.
Is it that Creed?
Due to water level.
Okay, you have in your packet the note she's sent. Her average usage is 8 units. Her over average would be 2 units at $5 per unit of sewer. It would be a $10 refund.
Make the motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve relief from the sewer bill for Jennifer Creed due to a water line break.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business number 3, motion to approve the legal sewer bill for Ella Thurman due to water line break.
I'll make a motion to approve the relief from sewer bill for Ella Thurman due to a water line break.
Awesome.
And this is the same instance. We had a bad winter this year. Her average usage is 5 units per quarter. Her over average was 5 units. $5 per unit of sewer would be $25 credit.
Michael, you still seconding?
Yes.
I'd like to include the amount in that.
Yeah, me too, that's what I was doing.
So,
People know. Transparency.
motion to approve relief from sewer bill for Ella Thurman due to a water line break in the amount of $30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, it was 25.
It was 25?
Yeah.
I thought you
I was
added.
thinking-
I was like,
Yeah. Let's redo that motion. I make a motion to approve relief from sewer bill for Ella Thurman due to a water line break in the amount of $25.
And I will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve relief of late fee for water bill payment of Robert and Debbie.
I'll make a motion to approve the relief of late fee for water bill payment of Robert and Debbie Cunningham.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, this one has to do with the Carnegans that we approved $145 of relief. Was it last month? March 6th. We approved them $145. The February meeting, relief for their water leak on their sewage. She is now asking us to waive her late fee penalty. And if you read the note that I gave you, it outlines the day after the due date on water billing, our ordinance states that we must put a 10% penalty fee, or calculate 10% of the penalty onto any unpaid amounts. The Carnegans paid $150 on a $624.50 bill, giving them a balance of $444.50, of which the 10% was added to. She's now asking that we give them relief from the $44.45. When the board voted and gave them the $145, we took off the $145. We also took off $14.50, which was the 10% penalty fee on that portion that we gave them credit for. She is now asking that we waive the rest of the penalty. However, with regard to our ordinance, they had a balance due and owing on the date that the penalty was calculated, and in my opinion, that would be contrary to what our ordinance is. So, if you look at this.
I talked to her, and she was waiting to see what the board had approved in February before she made a final payment. She did try to pay the regular bill before the late date, right, but she did. And she was just waiting, and I believe it was a week later, she did pay their balance.
However, the day after the due date, there was still a balance due and owing.
Well, I think she said she was waiting to see what the board said.
But that's still contrary to our ordinance. The ordinance says you have to pay it by this date.
I make the motion that we go ahead and pay the 29, whatever, 29.95.
Michael already made it. We're doing the, you seconded it. So we're doing discussion.
I'm sorry, I repeat the motion then, I'm not sure.
Well, okay, it sounded like Sandra wanted to add the exact number, which I thought was a good idea. Is it?
$29.95.
Okay, $29.95. I motion to approve relief of late fee of $29.95 of the water bill payment of Robert and Debbie Carnahan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Just so I understand, this board is ordering me to go contrary to our ordinance, is that correct?
Yes.
Then I will do so under duress? No. I will. What's the word I want?
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming? No, I will do this under protest.
Opposition.
I will do this under protest because it is in
Three ayes and one.
direct contrary to our ordinance.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm just... Okay,
Ready?
I'm ready.
Motion to discuss continued use of the Cottrellville Township website. I'm going to start this one off. Unfortunately for the township, because of the constant threat of being sued, it appears the responsible thing to do is to eliminate the use of the website. It saddens me to do so because of our goal was to update some of the services offered to the citizens of Cottrellville Township. Unfortunately, we do not have a large enough staff to maintain the web as supposedly required by the Michigan Township rules. So I feel the responsible thing to do is to eliminate the site. Thank you to all of you who committed and the personal strides that were made in developing the site. However, I feel that it's proper to revert back to paper notification and newsletters so that we don't have to worry about spending more money out of our general fund for lawsuits. Any more discussion?
Yes, I gave each board member a copy of what Ms. Lisco refers to. At the budget meeting this year, it came time to approve the decisions made at a previous workshop, as they're referred to. And the Michigan Open Meetings Act, starting last year, made it so that all meetings need to be get notified to the public online if the township does that. You need at least 18 hours notice, including for special meetings. This budget meeting, there were 2 of them that day. The one for 9 a.m. was not notified to the public online. I simply pointed that out at the start of the meeting.
That wasn't a budget meeting, there was an amendment to the budget, that was in the budget workshop.
Okay, an amendment to the budget, the meeting was not notified. You know, in my opinion, it's simply a matter of these meetings. We knew that meeting was going to need to take place for some time. There's a homepage where you see the meeting, and you see a calendar. It's very simple to keep those things updated on a calendar like that. The best thing to do would be to continue using the website, but simply be responsible enough to properly list the times.
Excuse me, Mr. Zoran, I'm plenty responsible enough. It was a typographical error, and I'm busy doing my statutory duties for the township, which involve our fiduciary, which is something that I'm pretty sure you're not aware of. Don't call me not responsible when it comes to this township. I'm not the one who just sued this township for $8,000. And this is exactly why I want to cancel this website, because I don't want to be responsible for you, a trustee, to turn around and sue us again.
First, there were 3 people that sued you.
And there are 2.
I appreciate the applause for the 3 people.
That wasn't.
Yeah, they were causing it.
If I may thank Mr. Zoran for supporting and proving the point. The whole reason why this came up and is on this agenda for tonight is because at our budget adoption meeting, Mr. Zoran decided to then give us notice that that wasn't...
I find that personally offensive.
There's no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. Now you're gonna lie on top of it? I'm sure we can find that in your video. Or will you edit that too?
With regard to what Mr. Zoran was just pointing out, he did his usual threat of a suit, even though he didn't say those words exactly. We know how Mr. Zoran works. And I truly believe after having to tender over $8,000 today for a setup that Mr. Zoran orchestrated, I just see this as a constant threat to this township to continue with this loss, or to continue with this.
Proved it right there.
And he just proved it again, because every time we sit down at this board table, we are always hearing threat after threat, and he has the audacity to call us bullies when he is the bully. I have yet to see one instance where anyone on this board has bullied anyone. But every single time you read something Mr. Zoran has written, or you look at anything he puts out there, it is a bully. He must still be in high school, I don't know. But I think, back to the issue of the website, it is at this point in time, I think a travesty that we have to come to this measure to protect the township against one of its own trustees. And it saddens me.
And do you have anything?
I think we should suspend it.
I need a motion to suspend.
I'll make a motion that in the best interest of the township and protection against further lawsuits, that we take down the website and revert back to paper notification for whatever we need to notify our residents for.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Maybe. I'd like a roll call, please.
Go ahead.
Michael?
No.
Sandy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Lori, yes.
Motion carries. Motion to approve ABC Home and Commercial Service Contract, the porta potty, Cottrellville Township Park.
I'll make a motion to approve ABC Home and Commercial Service contract for the porta potty for the park.
Any second, please? Any discussion?
Yes, there's only one document here, this quote and bid. Were there others that were asked for?
It's the continuation of their contract. And the total cost of their contract is, I believe, roughly $640, is that what it was for the 6 months? Do you have it, can you calculate it in there? 660. Thank you, 660. So was the total cost. They didn't increase, everything stayed the same.
Would you like me to restate that then with that amount?
Sure, yes, with the 660.
All right, I'll make a motion, I'll renew my motion to approve ABC Home and Commercial Service contract in the amount of $660 for the porta potty for the park.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to advertise the position of park maintenance person in the local paper. Which? Wasn't it just to advertise the park maintenance person?
Yeah, we received the job
So the
description.
job description, oh, that's one, okay, that's right.
Everyone had that in the
Right,
package a couple months ago, so
All right, can I get a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion to advertise the position of park maintenance person in the local newspapers.
Can I get a second? Second. With regards to the, what about, right now, are you receiving a lot of phone calls about opening the park?
I personally haven't received any phone calls, but I'm not the main person that answers the phone, so.
Is this part of the other?
Well, it's gonna be for that one, probably, you know, to look at.
No, we haven't.
We made a motion to pay $100, but we didn't determine who that was.
And because it's a public position, we felt it best to put it out there for anyone to apply for.
What are we gonna do until we get all the applications?
That's what I was getting to. I think that Tony should do it, being that he's been doing it all along voluntarily until we.
So have a temporary appointment of Tony to get our equipment ready so that
Right.
we can open the park up.
With pay.
With pay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make a motion to,
Until we get it done, and I believe the way that I was gonna put it in the paper, maybe about this.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tony temporarily so we can get the park open.
Right, and then we'll make
pay
the decision at the next one after deciding whichever applicants, including if Tony wants to
I'll second.
apply as well. Okay,
Will he accept it at this time, since he was approved?
would you accept that?
He
He doesn't even know
Would you
what's
accept, would you accept the maintenance
going
manager until the applications come in?
Okay. They have $100 a week? Okay. And then,
No, 500.
I also would like to, he's still eligible to apply for a position as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he can apply for the
Okay,
position.
just want to make sure.
But because he's been doing it,
Doing it,
it
that
just
just makes
makes
sense.
it easier in sense to
I
have.
agree
to
100%.
prepare it, so. And Michael, you seconded that?
that's right.
Okay, I'm assuming we all discussed it already, so. so we can move this meeting on. Anybody else have any more discussions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And that was just for Tony's, that wasn't for the,
No, that wasn't for the newspaper ad.
right,
Okay, so let me know if you're ready.
okay.
Okay, motion to advertise for park maintenance person in the local paper.
I'll renew my motion to advertise the position of park maintenance person in the local newspaper.
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, I'd just like to know, last month there were supposedly volunteers. What happened to them?
Who was your list of volunteers?
I was actually huge attention to volunteers. That's why I brought it up.
Really? Is that in the minutes? Let me look.
I brought it up
I
again at
don't
the
recall
budget.
saying that.
I don't recall you saying that at the last
No.
Well, there's no list of potential volunteers. I've wanted Tony more than anyone.
Tony's not.
I just wanted to make sure.
I know that there was a couple times, Kelly, that you had stated that
Tony volunteered to do it.
when we first was doing the budget the first year in 13, we had all kind of volunteered so we could save some
Yeah.
money, and then that kind of helped with the cracks, and then Tony was so gracious to do everything that he did.
Right.
You poor thing, you're up for St. Nick.
A lot of people wouldn't agree with you.
All right, so what do you say, Michael, that you're gonna volunteer?
No, I'm saying Tony's the most qualified man for it.
Okay, so we already discussed that, so we're discussing about the advertisement in the paper.
Okay.
No, we passed
We're
the,
discussing that right
we
now.
passed the temporary appointment of Tony as the man.
I just wanted clarification to last month.
We're talking about the advertisement in the paper.
All right.
Do you have any discussion with the advertisement in the paper for a park maintenance person?
No.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, motion to advertise the position of code enforcement officer in the newspaper.
I'll make a motion to advertise the position of code enforcement officer position in the local newspaper.
Can I get a second? Any discussion?
Yeah, does anywhere when we put that in, do we have any idea what the positions would pay? I mean, so people will respond to the ad.
That is,
Hourly?
well, we're gonna do, we budgeted $10,000 for it.
For 20 hours a week?
Up to 20 hours a week, because we don't wanna, what if, I mean, first to get the ball rolling, but then afterwards, we're gonna hope that the residents comply, so there's not gonna be a need for 20 hours a week. So that's right in for the determination. And then not really sure what the rate of pay is, because it varies.
Can this be incorporated with park maintenance?
Yeah, no budget, $10,000.
So it varies, so, we were just going to see what the applicants were and what we budgeted for, and then, because different code enforcers with their years of experience, and it's kind of like negotiable, because we budgeted $10,000, so different, like Joe, he was only, according to what he was budgeted, he was getting paid for 3 hours a week. And he wasn't even getting paid for that.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then I talked to several of the other communities, and there was just such a variance that I just figured we'd go negotiable, so when people turned it in, we could, you know, see what they were asking, or if they were saying negotiable, and then the board can kind of decide what their experience was.
So pretty much this is a learn as we go.
Yeah, because there wasn't really, I was thinking like $12 an hour, but it's kind of, you know, most of the ordinance enforcers are getting like 20 an hour, so maybe if we could find somebody that is willing to do it on part-time.
I think it needs to go to 22.
You know,
But yeah.
so, yeah. So anyway, so that was the, at least putting it out there, and then they know what the responsibilities are, and then we can decide, but that's what we budgeted for.
Well, I've had some people say to me already, first of all, find out the pay rate. I think this $10,000 is far too high, and here's why.
So they grant.
Did you divide $10,000 by the 52 weeks?
Well, what I'd like to compare the $10,000 to is a couple years ago, both Marine City Police Chief Tillery and Sheriff Tim Donlin came here, and they said you could have a police car on patrol for $40,000. That seems like a much better deal that would provide.
They're not going to enforce our ordinances.
Yes, they will.
No, they won't.
That would include civil law enforcement.
No, it won't.
Yes, I've talked to Sheriff Tim Donlin at multiple events.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
Okay, so motion to advertise the position for code enforcement officer in the paper.
I'll renew my motion to advertise the position of code enforcement officer in the local.
Make a second, please.
Second.
Ooh, time. Oh, Pepsi.
We'll give it to the ladies.
All right.
Oh, it's not to be discriminatory, don't be suing me. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All this discussion about light local that you have, there's, okay, so we're gonna move along to motion to approve resolution R 2014-6, the St. Clair County Commission annual utility permit.
I'll make a motion to approve the Cottrellville Township Resolution R 2014-06 for County Road Commission rate of way maintenance.
I'll second.
Do we need any discussion on this?
Pretty stated.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call. Ken?
Yes.
Lori, yes. Michael?
Yes.
Sandy? Yes. Kelly?
Yes. Motion to appoint Ellen Jones to the Planning Commission. Okay, motion please.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of, except for the motion. Ellen Jones to the Planning Commission.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Well, I'd just like to know why when there's a position available for the Planning Commission, it's not like the ordinance position or the Parks position, the Parks Maintenance position, where everybody in the township is notified, so that way everybody has an equal opportunity to join.
There's no set time period where people volunteer to join a commission or a committee. I mean, if people...
We don't have to. If somebody, if we already have applications or resumes or whatever you want to call it on file, or people come in and ask if we have a need for something, then we fulfill the need. I've had board of review advertised for, what, a year now? And we have yet to, I think we're the one person that's going to actually join next month. Any more discussion?
I'll renew my motion to approve Ellen Jones to the Planning Commission.
All in
I'll
favor?
resecond.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to discuss park cleanup gathering on May 3rd and 4th. The only thing I wanted to add to that was maybe we could get some help over at the waterfront park as well, now that we have it, if we have volunteers. And I would like to put a cap on buying the food, the refreshments and that at $500. And supplies and all that jazz, doesn't mean we have to spend it, but at least we need napkins, plates, silver cups, we used all of that up in the last year. We used, remember, that was on the last year, use what we have, I used it. So, hot dogs, chips, still try to get donations through BG's, McDonald's, beers, interviews, and maybe some.
Who's gonna do the preparation and the cooking?
I thought you were. I was just gonna,
So much for that thought.
I was gonna make another motion to volunteer.
Well, it's just,
Good.
what are you gonna do with the food that's left? So you can't find 500, you can't run to the store, and there's 2 more people show up. What happens to the supplies that you purchase if the people don't show up?
And we have them on Sunday.
Okay. Just asking.
It's a pretty good estimate when I did the Easter egg hunt. We didn't have, I don't think, anything left over when I did the Easter egg hunt. And hopefully, all the volunteers will call and let us know that you're volunteering. So that way it helps us to, and that's what we need to reiterate when people come. And then how many volunteers they're gonna have so that we have an idea.
How many hot dogs you have?
That's right. So you know how many hours you're gonna be cooking.
So we
Well,
have,
it's not hot.
in that regard, since we're looking at this, do we have a list of people who are volunteering so far, or? are we
Well, Michael
putting
said
this-
he had 7 of them.
Yep. And there's a couple people who said, hey, if you need more people, we'd be willing to lend the time. But I have to say, based on last year, I don't think there'll be a big need. One thing I will say,
I thought last year was such a booming success.
We're doing a cleanup this time also.
Yeah, we're getting the community to come in and help clean up the township park.
And the cemetery.
that's actually something like I mentioned before.
And
There was only literally 1 pop can to clean up when we looked that over.
it's not just pop cans, it's the debris, it's the tree limbs, it's the weeding of the flower beds. I know that Sandy and I spent plenty of weekends here doing it because we were foolish enough to volunteer, that's why we asked for help.
No, you were wonderful, they were wonderful to volunteer, and anyone who volunteers
Overwhelming, no,
will
it was
be
fun. And the mulch
blessed.
in itself.
We did the mulch.
And there's the sand in the sandbox, there's a lot to be done. And I just think it's better to utilize, being that we're having the spring cleanup, to also have the township cleanup, because you can get it all done at once, and you're more likely to have more volunteers if you have the event. Plus, it's the beginning of the season, so we know that the park's ready, set to go, where the kids play on it. One thing I'd like to mention before we adjourn.
We need to vote on, are we gonna vote on the $500?
Oh, yeah, vote on that, sorry.
My only statement is, I mean, I think even if dozens of people showed up, you wouldn't need anything close to $500. So you might want to do it with the just-in-time delivery type process. We live very close to stores that can provide hot dogs and pop.
Yeah, at a higher cost, if you go to BG's and you buy 100 hot dogs as compared to going to Sam's Club.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Go to BG's.
Okay, that's your opinion.
I'd rather keep it open.
So can I get a motion for?
Oh, I thought you did a motion.
I'll make a motion, we allot up to $500 for food and beverages for the park cleanup crew.
I'll second.
It must be late.
I'm just saying, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But I prefer that it happen at local
Okay,
places.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, so we just want to let everybody know that we did receive a grant for the electric door. We're only going to do one though, for the wheelchair accessible. So that's good news, and thank you to Helen and Matt Kowalczyk for helping us with that. And that's it. Oh, I forgot about that. I don't want to do it. Okay, public comment. Do we have anybody for public comment? Wait for Lori. Oh, time.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's been a long month. Okay, oh wait, is this 3 hours, not 3 hours?
I know how much you say
I'm sorry, okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say how upset I am that my tax dollars is going to pay a stupid lawyer who is just out to take money from us and other places. Because when you talk about the places that he's represented, it's just money in his pocket and he wants to be noted for his fame, taking money away from little townships. But Lori, what I'd like you to do for next meeting is if you can look up what portion of our tax dollars come back to Cottrellville for operating expenses only, because the library goes to the library, the parks to the parks, etc. It's pennies on the dollar. So that $8,000 is a lot of money for us. It's ridiculous. This is something that could have been set down as adults and discussed it. But no, he always does that gotcha thing that Lori mentioned. So this is just horrible. You have no idea the people that dislike you now. And then also, if you could put in the paper why you're disbanding the website, the reasons for it. Get in touch with somebody and have them put it down because of him, always saying he's going to sue us. Because this is ridiculous. I really resent the fact. In the beginning, people were willing to give you a chance, but not anymore.
Madam Supervisor, I have one question. The Riverside Park, does Cottrellville own that property now?
Yep.
It's all done, must be about
Yep.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to go along with, I think, the majority of the people, and I'm very disappointed that what came out with this lawsuit deal. It's like one person suing the township, who is supposed to be helping the township with affairs, keep them organized, and have a smooth operation. So when this happens, it's coming out of our taxpayers' money. And we're worried now about hot dogs and other things. Why should we worry about them? We can just throw away $8,000 because our board members feel it's more important to do something else than to do something for the community. It's not helping the township with all this lawsuit and everything else. You should have settled some other way, but not that way, okay? And so we have to worry about the budget and what we need. No website, no hot dog, no this, no that. They're more important to the people that come here to work. Maybe give them a hot dog or something. Just a gratitude, for cleaning up. Not instead of just taking away from everything. So that money's got to come from someplace. So where is it going to come from? Huh? What are we going to sacrifice? What else are we going to sacrifice to pay for that and maybe some other future lawsuits? I hope it gets straightened out soon.
Anybody else? You need to turn your light up. We can't see up here. It's great. It's glaring right in our eyes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Layla Joe. For purposes herein, I'm going to define a public body, which is Cottrellville Township Board of Trustees. I'm going to read an excerpt from the Open Meetings Act 267 of 1976. Paragraph 15.263, Section 3, subparagraph 1, states that all meetings of a public body shall be open to the public and shall be held in a place available to the general public. All persons shall be permitted to attend any meeting except as otherwise provided in this act. The right of a person to attend a meeting of a public body includes the right to tape record, videotape, broadcast live on radio, and telecast live on television. Only the proceedings of a public body at a public meeting The proceedings of a public body at a public meeting do not include the recording of audience who do not speak at the podium. I am a private citizen, I'm not a member of the board, and I do not participate in the proceedings while sitting in the audience or back of the room. According to the Open Meetings Act, a private citizen only participates and may be recorded if speaking at the podium, like I am doing so now. Next, I would like to refer to the Cottrellville Township Public Participation Policy at board meetings amended on February 12, 2014, on the back of everybody's agenda. Paragraph 15.623, Section 3, subparagraph 1, states that a public body may establish reasonable rules and regulations in order to minimize the possibility of disrupting the meeting. Therefore, in order to permit fair and orderly public expression, this board has adopted the reasonable rules that are highlighted in bold as items 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are not in violation of the Open Meetings Act. Paragraph 15.264, Section 4 of the Open Meetings Act 267 of 1976 states, the following provisions shall apply with respect to public notice of meetings. A public notice shall always contain the name of the public body to which the notice applies. B, a public notice for a public body shall always be posted at its principal office. It may be posted at other locations considered appropriate by the public body. Cable television may also be utilized for purposes of posting public notice. The current policies and procedures for the required bidding contracts over $20,000 and the credit card policy have been posted on the Township of Cottrellville's Facebook page, not on the website. Thank you.
Thank you.
With regards to what Ms. Betsy Reed said,
And we're not announcing names.
she just named herself Leela Joe. My legal name is Leah Joe. She is impersonating me.
I know
You didn't ask her to not say her name.
No, I didn't.
You didn't ask her.
No, I didn't ask her.
That's right, and you're asking me to now?
No, I didn't ask you. I said we're not saying any names.
She just said my name.
Oh, I thought you were in a
No.
I'm sorry, I misheard you.
No. I'm a little upset right now that she's impersonating myself.
I'm going to start over.
Yeah, start all over. I misheard you. I thought you were saying your name.
No. I'm very upset right now because my
She
nickname.
doesn't know your name.
Okay.
She knows my name. She just called herself Leela Joe. That's my nickname.
All right,
Please don't
yeah.
impersonate me.
No.
Okay. For one thing.
Ready?
For one thing, what I'll say is, please don't impersonate me, thank you. Number two, throughout history, anyone who has to put a hood on their head to do something publicly is probably not doing something very ethical. One thing that I would also like to bring up, everyone's very concerned about the lawsuit and the money, but we're all really looking past the fact that there is another member on this board who has sued the township, Clerk Lori Russellberg. Wondering if John McNamee would like to comment on the cost of that lawsuit to the taxpayers. Is there any, can we?
Sure, 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm just wondering if we can FOIA that information to find out what the cost of that lawsuit is, because I did look into it and your name was listed on a lawsuit against the township.
But they appealed that there was no.
You guys let her talk for 3 minutes, please.
Also, and I apologize, thank you for letting me know that I had a flash on my phone. I didn't know and I was able to correct it immediately, so I really do appreciate you letting me know. Unfortunately, I heard some things about a previous meeting and I wasn't made aware, so I could correct it, but I was happy that I could correct it, so thank you so much. And again, I would just like to say that I would really caution, because the same person that put a hood up last meeting and this meeting, the things that she was saying were just simply untrue, unethical, and now her ethics have even, and integrity have even lowered themselves more, that she's impersonating myself. It's very commonly known my nickname is Leela Joe. My legal name is Leah Joe. So, well done.
Anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to respond if you wish. You keep it short, I will do that.
Okay.
But just in order.
Sorry.
I'm assuming that the lady who just was at the podium is referencing when a water district was put in, and there was a challenge by a group of citizens, no one on the board, no trustee, but a group of citizens who challenged the basis upon which the assessments were made, which is perfectly permissible under the provisions of the various statutes in the state of Michigan. It is not uncommonly done. In fact, it's part of the procedure called for by statute. That case was tried. A decision was rendered on behalf of the, I forgot the acronym, but it was the Citizens for Responsible Government or something of that nature. So it was many multi-citizens. At the conclusion of that, the judge ruled in favor of the township on probably 15 points, but on the 16th point, he deemed that there were two pieces of property that should have been included in the assessment. And on that basis, that was appealed. And what the cost of the township was on that basis was zero. I charged no legal fee, handled the appeal, and we were successful. And the township trustees paid for the transcript and the cost associated with that appeal. And it was, and believe me, there was no cost to the township. The Court of Appeals agreed. This board was faced with a tough choice with respect to this litigation that's been discussed tonight. But in the interest of the overall township, putting this matter behind and trying to get positive expenditures on behalf of the township, they made a decision. I applaud them for it.
Well, may I ask a question of Mr. Neckerman while he's here? Does that mean that you have accepted to settle count 4 and accept responsibility?
No, sir, that was not the motion. You were here. You heard the motion. You know what the judge's opinion and order was. So to make that statement, again, is not correct, and you know better than that.
Do we still have a township newsletter?
We do, it'll come out with the taxes.
If it does, I would like to request that this lawsuit and what was settled be put in it and some of the information, because I would like the 500 invisible constituents that I've heard of ever since I came to these meetings that Mr. Zoran has talked to. I'd like them to see how this is played out and see how they like how this is going, because I'm appalled. I'm ready to quit paying my taxes. I'll burn dollar bills in my freaking fireplace. I'd give way better gratification out of that than doing this.
The problem is you don't want to take responsibility. It wasn't just Michael, it was 2 other residents. You will never admit your guilt, but you were found guilty.
Anybody else?
Yes, just to clarify.
Yes, what were we found guilty of is, I'm completely lost.
Open meetings and violating their rights.
We were cut 40 seconds short, so we got sued.
John, how many seconds was it?
I don't recall.
It's not the seconds, it's the principle.
It's an $8,000 principal. I think it's a little
That's right,
obnoxious.
that's the law.
Okay, let's TK get his chance now.
Well, the board, none of us here are professional politicians. We're trying to learn this, we should try to learn together. You can't be the only kid in the sandbox, you gotta work together to get out of the box.
Yes, Michael Zoran, trustee in precinct element. I just want to point out a couple things in regard to what the hooded woman who could not get her name right. The woman's name is Betsy Reed. On her Facebook page, she publicly brags bipolar and foul.
Hey, you know what? That's personal. Somebody's, you're violating HIPAA.
No.
Yes, you are.
We have it printed from the internet.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't need to be speaking of it. We can't speak about him.
She's up at his court hearings with his medical.
Sorry.
That's HIPAA.
All right, now I have to start the time over again. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. As far as the Michigan Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.263, it makes a reference to, yes, you're allowed to record a public body. It doesn't say you're not allowed to record anybody else. A Michigan Court of Appeals case called Sullivan versus Gray makes it clear, when you record an audience, you're simply taking advantage of your statutory public recording rights. That has nothing to do with the Open Meetings Act. So that's where this public participation policy comes into play. It specifically says under item 3A, all devices will be turned off until the meeting is called to order and when adjourned. I want the people in the audience to understand this has already been tried to be enforced one time, and the Sheriff's Department, 2 deputies, took my side on, on August 14th, 2013. They said, we're not going to enforce this. It tried again another day in the office, and no enforcement. This is 100% illegal. As far as enforcing, voting reasonable rules and regulations into effect, the problem there is when you have this policy that violates a statutory law and the First Amendment, that means it's not reasonable, because a local policy cannot supersede a statutory policy or a federal policy. Finally, it truly is a saddening day for me that we have 4 board members who refuse to accept simple accountability for breaking the law. You were found guilty. There's no doubt about it. I was cut short at 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Kyle Sunday at 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Austin Adams at 1 minute, 44 seconds. You specifically said that Austin had to give his name and address, even though others were not required to give their address. And that was count 3. And count 2 was Mr. Kyle Sunday was told he wasn't allowed to speak of the fact that you moved out of Cottrellville for 6 months. Judge West made it clear that the content of a person's speech cannot be limited. You can come up here and say whatever you want. So I just want the people to understand that the hooded woman was completely clapped for last month, just like this one. I mean, be careful whose side you follow. I mean,
I'm going home. This is ridiculous. I can't take it.
My turn. And on that note, Michael, I'm ashamed of you because you punished every resident in this township for what you claimed that the board neglected to give you 40 seconds. And for 40 seconds speech, you've lost any credibility to any residents in this township. And you have punished every resident in this township, which is totally unfair. And you know what? You need to live by the same guidelines that you expect everybody else to live by. And as far as personal tax, you're number 1 on personal tax, and you know it. And that if you didn't have anything but personal tax, you would have nothing. But I am really disappointed that a board member in Cottrellville Township sued the township for $8,000. You got a result of $8,000. Sued the township for more than that. Thank God you didn't get any money for it. And that the residents were the ones that paid and suffered for it. Not the board, the residents who pay the taxes. You know, what do you pay in taxes? I doubt much.
I suffer.
Oh, do you? Well, you know what? We're all suffering a lot more, and wait till the day comes when you're recalled and you find out how well you suffered. Thank you.
Okay, unless Mr. McNamee has anything to say, we're gonna call for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Michael, I hope the phones are off because the meeting is adjourned. And once the meeting is adjourned, that camera was supposed to be shut off. Oh, yes, that's one of the meetings that you buzz off.
I don't have.
No, I'm talking to Michael.
Well, let's see, I think that. Then you're talking.
No, I'm not talking to Mama here.
Actually, better put a nice television.
Yeah, but this chart.
Right. So there's no way we can get a policy.
I mean, the podcast.
Yeah.
And just so you know, our policy that we put into place for the township has nothing to do with the Open Meetings Act. And just so you know, our policy that we put into place for the township has nothing to do with the Open Meetings Act.
That's just way out of line.
The bottom line is, Mike Zoran's just looking for attention.
Is this a case of politicians gone wild or just a guy causing trouble for local officials? On the edge tonight, they say you can't fight City Hall, but this guy says he's putting up a fight armed with only a camera. He claims that what he captured could be evidence of corruption, but others say this guy is just looking for trouble where there is none. Here's Fox 2's Taryn Asher.
Here are the players, 2 township officials and a concerned resident. And this is the battle that erupted outside St. Clair County's Cottrellville Township Hall.
I hope you got your little recorder going in your bag, and you can play it back, and you can masturbate to it, or whatever you want to do. Whatever you do to get your jollies, I don't care. Whoa! You better stay away from me, Mr. Raymond. I don't have a car. Start walking then. You better tell your mother and tell her. Hold Mr. Raymond back.
But every political brouhaha has a backstory. It all started at Michael Zoran's house. He didn't like the noise he claimed his neighbors were making at all hours of the night with chainsaws, so he decided to go to Cottrellville Township about it. He called police, the supervisors, trustees, and when he felt they weren't doing enough about it, he decided to start going to the meetings.
I originally did it to attempt to get them to take action.
Zoran wanted noise violations enforced, blight cleaned up, and the truth exposed. He claims he wasn't welcome at the township meetings, not his public comments or his camera, specifically from the chairwoman of the Planning Commission, Pat Runyon.
Stop hitting on me. I'm not going to stop. You're opening yourself up for a lawsuit. Shut on me. Get that off of me.
Leave my camera alone. This will be the second time.
You're such a child. The child is videoing everybody. Take a look.
I put my hand over the camera because he's, videoing me through the whole stinking thing. And then I got a little frustrated and made the comments I made. Whatever.
Mr. Zoran says he's doing all this because he just wants to make Cottrellville Township a better place to live. But we discovered another motivation. He's running for township trustee.
My goal is to restore integrity and trust and honesty and justice. I want to make sure that those laws are enforced and that the township looks nice again.
But if you ask Township Supervisor Tom Raymond and Planning Commission Chair Pat Runyon, his actions border on harassment. They claim they had done what they could to address his complaints and had enough when Zoran placed a camera in his bag and recorded them following a board meeting.
Every little thing, you just twist it. That's you. That's why you're Mr. Twister. Everything. You twist. I hope you got your little recorder going in your bag, and you can play it back, and you can masturbate to it, or whatever you want to do. Whatever you do to get your jollies, I don't care. You better stay away from me, Mr. Raymond. I don't have a car. Well, start walking then. You better call your mother and tell her to hold Mr. Raymond back.
As Runyon grabs his camera, you hear Zoran say, "Please hold Mr. Raymond back," and then the camera shuts off in the scuffle. Raymond, who happens to be running for state rep of the 81st District, claims he never went after Zoran. As for those comments,
I don't think that was dirty at all. I think sailor talk is dirty, and what I said was not dirty.
the masturbation comment?
I don't believe that was dirty at all. If I was going after him, he was as close as you are to me right now on the other side of that rail. He would, if I was going after him, I would have gone after him.
That's just way out of line. I believe someone like that has no position trying to be a leader, a state representative candidate anywhere.
Could this political chaos at Cottrellville Township Hall cost the candidates votes? Time will tell. The August primary right around the corner. In St. Clair County, Taryn Asher, Fox 2 News.